don't remember how to start this. I don't remember how this works. It's been 3 years
What do you say?
Yeah,
since the
we're
last
this is
episode.
episode 104 is what we're
That's too
coming
many.
into.
Yeah.
Um, but it's 12 years since this started. Like, I was looking back, I was reading a Nintendo thing today, and the Wii U came out in 2012, and we started in the Wii U era, early in the Wii U era, when it was not immediately clear that she was a flop.
Yeah. And
No.
we started um just before an E3 where like the Xbox and the PS4 were being announced. And
My God.
that's just
Yeah.
to take you take you back on a ride to see how long ago that was. And like you
Where
had
we were.
mentioned and pointed out, Michael, you were 19 years old.
I was
Oh
but a
my
wee
God.
babe. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know, right?
Who's 19 years old? Like,
19 years
seriously.
old, and I
Who
was
does that?
29.
Like in general, who's
Yeah, who's
19?
19 anymore? Oh,
I know.
Yeah, well, none of us, that's for sure. So
that's
none of us
true.
are
That's
19
true.
anymore.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
we don't need to point that out. Don't worry
Pushing
about it.
daisies here.
So we are back, and
Yay.
it has been a long time that we all sat down and talked about video games on the Video Game Realness podcast, which is now on video, and you can all see us, which is a nice, refreshing change. We've been modernized. I have
We're
to
trying
say,
it out.
I have to
You're pretty
say,
good.
I feel like we were ahead of the podcast era.
So totally,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
No one knew what it was. We didn't
nobody
know
was
what it was.
nobody was podcasting. Not nobody. I don't want to say nobody.
No,
Like
we were the only ones. It's fact. Fact.
yeah,
yeah, we were
On
on all
Wikipedia.
Apple's top 10 lists. There's just number one, number two. It was all
Yeah.
VG Realness.
Truly.
yeah. Like,
Exactly.
but now, of course, like post pandemic or like during the pandemic, we've had this trend of like podcast, and of course, what's very interesting is like we were a podcast truly audio only, and now podcasts has become YouTube talk shows where they're always like including video and not really an emphasis on the audio version only. But anyway, you know, it's just interesting how much that has the space has changed and how much we've evolved from there.
Huh? Yeah,
But
it's like
yeah,
so different.
so as I pointed out, we did start this 12 years ago, 13 years ago, or something like that.
2013, yeah.
A lot has changed. And the last episode we did was in 2021 in October, where we did a random episode during the pandemic on Discord. I don't know if you all remember that.
It was in the dark times. Damn.
Yes, it was in the dark eras. But, it's now 4 years since that since that episode. So I wanted to catch up with everybody. Not like, obviously I know what you guys have been up to, but the
Yay.
rest of the world doesn't know what you've been up to. And not related to games, just like whatever you want to share. So we'll start with you, Cameron. Well,
Fuck
because
me.
you're on the furthest left on my screen.
Oh no, that's not fair. That's not fair. I need to like set the stage. What's happened? What's happened since 2021? I don't play a lot of video games anymore, I'll be honest. Uh
Well, we'll get
I,
to the
I
video games part, but more
yeah,
just like
yeah, no, but
you.
oh my God, I'm a sports guy. No, I joined a rugby team that became my
Uh-huh.
personality for like 3 years, still is. Um
Is that
Quit my
is that in
job.
your hat?
Yeah, it's not my team, but it's a team I like. Not from this country, but um, yeah, yeah. Quit my job. Started doing freelance graphic design, following the footsteps of good old Michael there. Give me some lovely tips. Um, and yeah, now just stressing out about the giant next door.
Yeah,
With,
anyway.
but we don't need to talk about
Not
that.
for not for
Go
this.
go
Not
go
for
go
this.
go go literally anywhere else.
Yeah. Michael, tell us what you've been doing, cause she been
Um
she been doing a lot.
Yeah. So Cameron mentioned, I guess I had my business the last time, like we would have done this, right? But I've had my business for, I guess, what, like 7 years coming up on now. Yeah, and we do like, videography, graphic design, websites, that sort of stuff. And then, yeah, my YouTube channel, so you can follow that Messenger Bag Media, and we do just sort of general
Link up
tech.
here.
General
We can't
tech
do that.
related.
Can we do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
I thought
If
the
you're
Love.
interested, check out these videos here. But that's fun, and yeah, I don't know. That's kind of everything. I guess what I bought a place, so moved.
Oh.
That's been fun, and then I also became not like a full sports gay, but in the same vein as Cameron, I now play in a gay hockey league, and that's been fun for me.
That's so
I
awesome.
Hmm.
saw that literally like an hour ago. I was like, when did Michael start playing hockey?
Last fall. Yeah, it
It's
was fun.
awesome.
It was really really fun,
Good
and we
for
played at
you.
Maple Leaf Gardens. Yeah,
Hmm.
so.
Nice. James, what about you?
Like what's been going on with life?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
non-game related.
Oh my God. What's been going on in life? Yeah, moved around a bit in the city since I think we last. No, wait, pandemic. I was still here. I was still here. So did that. Um, I'm a full-blown corpo now, so there's that for those playing Cyberpunk. I'm a corpo. I'm not a like whatever in the Sandlands. Definitely corpo. Um,
Coming to Switch
I
2.
don't
yeah.
understand what we're talking about.
Did you? I never played Cyberpunk. I watched someone else play Cyberpunk. Anyways, so there's that. Just been living life. Just been yeah.
Being a
Went to
corpo.
Japan last year. That was
Oh
fun.
yeah, that was a fun trip.
Went to Hong
Hmm.
Kong, saw my family. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good times.
Good. For myself, I did a lot of moving.
Oh, you
and
girl, you're
and
like
Around.
and I just want to say that I am done with moving. Okay? I moved
yay.
in the last time we spoke, I moved from my apartment that I was living in for like 7 years to a condo. Then I moved to Montreal. Then I moved to another place in Montreal, and now I moved back to Toronto. And that was all over the span of like 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah,
Oh my god. That's nuts.
5 times in 3 years.
It's too much.
It's too much. I admit it, and I'm done. I've now moved to a place here back in Toronto, and I love it, and it's a great space, and I got a great price by today's rental price standards, and I'm not moving unless, the owners of this condo force me out of here. So they
We
better
have
get
records though.
yeah, they better get used to me being here. I will die here.
Get used to you being there.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So
Uh,
over the last, 4 years since our last episode, I guess this is a kind of a two-part question. What kind of gamer are you now versus 13 years ago since we started this podcast? And, what would you say have been your top gaming highlights over the last 4 years? Like what, like over, since we've, because obviously we're older now and our lives have changed and like priorities change, but obviously we are still people who enjoy video games, maybe not as much, or maybe they're about the same. And so yeah, what kind of gamer are you now versus 13 years ago? And I'll go first this time. I would say I pretty much am about the same. I would probably say maybe I went from like, an 80% down to like a 60%. I think I've become more of a PC gamer. I don't touch my console games as much. So I pretty much, if the option for a console game is on PC, I'll play it on PC. And because of that, I haven't had a necessity to get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox because pretty much everything now that comes out on those consoles comes out on a PC. So I've pretty much become a PC gamer. Um, this will come as no shock and surprise to anyone who's been listening to this podcast for many years that I still play World of Warcraft. Uh,
really?
yes, I still play World of Warcraft now and from 13 years ago. I still play the same character. I still main the same class. That has not changed. Um, and in terms of console gaming, like Nintendo is like my only console now that I have because obviously we
Wow.
cannot play that on PC. Um, I have become bad at completing games.
Mm.
I've purchased a lot of Switch games. I have not finished them, and I plan to change that when the Switch 2 comes around. That I'm gonna go back and finish a lot of Switch games since now they have like Switch 2 editions because like I didn't finish Tears of the Kingdom, but
Me
now
neither.
and it
Me
has
neither.
a upgraded whatever version. We'll get into
Mm.
that later. So I plan to go back and finish those games. And in terms of like gaming highlights over the last few years, I'm gonna say that the most memorable games I would say I played front and center in my mind is Monster Hunter Wilds because it literally
Mm.
just came out like a few months ago. Sorry, not even a few months ago, a few weeks ago. Um, and I really love the Monster Hunter series, and I think they did a really good job with the game. I really love it. I know that a lot of people have mixed feelings in terms of it, but definitely one of my gaming highlights. Marvel Rivals has really taken me by surprise in terms of like how much I enjoy it. Um, and
Really,
I've been
that's shocking to you? That's not shocking to me
well, no,
that you
because
enjoy it.
well, no, because like I'm not like because like I wasn't as big into Overwatch, but like I guess throw the Marvel IP in there and then it changes your opinion on everything. And I've been playing a lot of like co-op indie games like on Steam. Like if I go through my Steam library, there's a whole bunch of like just random like stuff that we've played with friends online. So yeah, I think that's kind of like how I've changed as a gamer and like the highlights over the 4 years. So going back the other direction, James, what about you?
That's a good question. I don't think I play as much now. So during the pandemic, I definitely played more. So like 2021, that's when Endwalker came out on Final Fantasy 14. So I remember like
Yes.
plowing through all the expansions to get ready for Endwalker and then playing Endwalker all the way through. And I remember when you beat it before me, Delvin. I remember beating it with Delvin on the phone, and I couldn't stop crying.
Oh,
And Delvin was like, "Are you okay?"
You're like, it's so beautiful.
I will say, sorry, that actually is also a gaming highlight for me.
Yeah.
But like Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker was just like mwah. Like it just was the
Mm.
closing of like what 4 or 5 games.
Like 10 years of games.
Yeah.
Okay, so girl, when we started talking about coming back, I was like, I went back and looked at our YouTube channel, the Autumn Veil
Oh
Yes.
right,
on
oh my god,
YouTube.
we were doing those
Same fucking
videos.
game.
I
Yep.
still go back to those. Those videos were so funny. Y'all
They are
killed
Yeah.
so
it.
good. Although the best actually is when we play Mario Kart Double Dash and in Baby Park and James has a moment. Yeah.
My enrage timer went off. Yeah.
She
We should do
crashed
that with
out, girl.
World.
She crashed
World.
out.
Yeah.
As the kids say nowadays.
Crashed out. Yeah, so play Final Fantasy, and then I think when things started to like come back a bit more to normal, didn't play as many games. I think I'm still like primarily a Nintendo gamer, so like whenever a big Switch hit comes out, I'll play it. I do have trouble finishing games. I probably finish about 50 to 40% of the games I buy. Um, Still RPG fan. I bought a PS5 to play Final Fantasy 16. Big mistake. Did not finish it. Do not like. I know, Michael, you like that game.
Yeah,
I
I
did
liked
not
it.
like
I
that
liked it,
game.
but whatever.
It was too dark and edgy, and obvious. And the story is also obvious. Like at the
Yeah.
beginning, you're like, spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
Yeah.
You're like, he's
Oh,
not
totally.
dead. But then like 10 hours in, they're like, he's not dead. And I'm like, yeah, anyone with like eyes knows.
Half
Anyways.
a brain cell. Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't great. Anyway, so did that, and where are we now? So I bought Monster Hunter to play it. Delvin, Delvin, you're like Hunter rank 96. I was Hunter rank 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm like 100 and something now.
So, but then Xenoblade Chronicles X Remastered came out, and now I'm playing that game with
Oh,
like the cheesy funk rock in the background.
I
I'm playing that game. It's crazy.
yeah, I don't know if you guys remember how much I enjoyed that game on Wii
Wii
U.
U.
Yeah.
With the
Um,
USB stick for the rendering of stuff.
yep,
Yeah.
I was that girl. But yeah,
Texture pack.
I'm gonna get
Texture
it when it
pack.
when I get Switch 2, I'm going to go back and get Chronicles X because I assume
Mhm.
that it will perform better on it. I'm just guessing.
Though, if I would recommend one thing, Delvin, you might want to, if you were planning to get it as a physical copy, you might want to snap it up. Just because my guess, like those games, they basically like print it once, and then
Never
after
again.
that, it's like very limited restocks you find from like specialty retailers. But
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. I mean, I'm pretty much a digital only gamer
okay,
at this
then
point,
there you go.
so
Yeah,
which
cool.
we'll get into later.
Yeah, so that's
uh,
kind of it. It's kind of like not occasional, but definitely not hardcore at this point.
hmm
Yeah, I'm also less for sure. But I'm trying to think because it's funny because when James talks about games, it reminds me about what I play. And it's funny, James, you saying that you beat like 50 to 60% or something, or 40 to 50%, because I feel like you actually beat a lot of the games that you start. Like I'm always shocked when you and I will hang out and you're like, oh yeah, I beat that, or I'm through that, and it's like, how I literally just.
But I
I
come
never
back
seem
like
to
6
find.
months later. Like that's my whole thing. Like I'll play it and then I'll get it to 70, then I get completion anxiety and I leave it for 6 months.
Huh.
So that's how it works.
Yes, yes. I did finish Final Fantasy 16. Yeah, that was fun. I liked the battle in that game. And there was some interesting parts, but it was, you know, yeah. But I played that. What I just like I keep playing a lot of Ace Attorney games, so like I finally
Nothing's
beat
changed.
like the Great Ace
Nothing's
This
Attorney
changed.
and the
one.
Great Ace Attorney 2, and I have Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, and then Apollo Justice 456.
12 years later, she still
This one
loves Ace
keeps that
Attorney.
division of Capcom alive by
Yeah,
rebuying
They
the same game on every platform possible, I feel like.
Yes, yes, yes.
you're not
So
one to talk about rebuying games, James.
yeah. Although,
I
okay, so
hope.
guys, I don't know if you can see, but like in my background right here, do you see this like red like line up the wall there? That is just a
No, well,
wall of Switch games. Well, anyway, there is just a line of Switch games
He
that
has a
that
lot of games.
goes up there. It's like people are surprised. I'm surprised actually at myself because let's put it this way: a huge amount of them are still in the shrink wrap. They're like not even open.
Again,
So
doesn't
there's
surprise.
that. But yeah, in terms of what
Damn.
I've played outside of
Christ.
that, Civilization 7 actually is,
Oh,
but I only played one campaign, and I played it like when the week that it came out. I played it the Tuesday night it came out, the Thursday evening, and then that was around like Family Day weekend here, so I was off on the Friday as well, and I played all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and then part of Monday, and then finished my first campaign and was like, girl, I can't do this again. Like it was not because I didn't enjoy it, but because it was like, oh my god,
it
all
sucked
I
you
did,
in.
like all I did. So I'll probably go back to that at some point, but I actually play that on my Steam Deck plugged into a monitor. So like I've had that as my you know, foray into PC gaming, I suppose, without fully buying an additional computer. And actually, on my Steam Deck right now, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 2. So nothing has changed at
Nothing has
all.
that is
changed.
the most Michael thing ever. To buy a
And then
Steam Deck
outside of, yeah. Oh,
and then
actually, I
play an
bought a
old
Steam Deck.
Kingdom Hearts game.
Do you want to know why I actually bought the Steam Deck?
I
The
feel like you
You
Steam
got
told
it
Deck.
on
me, but
sale, obviously.
I did buy it on sale, yes, but then 2 weeks later was when they came out with the Steam Deck OLED, so I was actually quite mad about that. But I bought it on sale, and I bought it so that I could play Prince of Persia from 2008, like the cell shaded one. But then the funny thing is I bought the whole console just so I could play that, and the game when I had to buy it for my Steam library was 99 cents. So I bought the Steam Deck for a 99-cent game. But that was fun. Outside of that, I've been playing Pokemon TCG Pocket, and that's probably the thing I actually play most consistently.
And what about you, Cameron?
In terms of where I was, I mean, I used to play mainly like more on the competitive side games like shooters and MOBAs. Of course, played World of Warcraft and raided with Delvin. Um, I don't do a lot of that anymore. I'm finding, especially recently in like the last 6 months, I'm finding it really, really tough to like get to the end of the workday and then all right, let me play a video game that's going to stress me the fuck out. So like I really did enjoy Marvel Rivals, and I really badly want to play it again, but kind of 7 o'clock comes around and I'm like, do I want to have an 18-year-old yell at me while they're
Yeah.
losing on Spider-Man. No. I do still play World of Warcraft a bit, but definitely not to the extent. I'm really just going through it for the story, and I mean, they're doing a good job at that recently, so that's nice. Um, yeah, a lot of the games I play, unlike I think James, where you said you play a lot but not finish them, I will pick like 1 or 2 games a year and then finish the fuck out of them, and that's it. The
Mm.
last one, of course, being Dragon Age Veilguard, which was a really bittersweet moment for me because it was really nice having a game that felt like it was absolutely made for me, and knowing that
Aw.
because it was made for me, that series is never going to make another game again. Was
Oh,
it? Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
The internet, it became the culture war ground, whatever
oh,
battle we're in now, and it's unfortunate. I thought it was a fantastic game.
I played that too. Yeah, yeah. We were chatting. Like it was
Yeah,
fun. I didn't beat it though, but I did play it and I liked
that's
it.
all right. Yeah, I think that's it.
well, it's good that catch up and everything. But obviously, what brought us together today is the Switch 2 Direct. Well, the Switch 2 release announcement a few months ago is what was like sparked the conversation of, hey, let's have let's do the podcast again. But then I got laryngitis.
Oh yeah, fuck.
I
We've been
forgot
waiting to
That's
that
do
was
this
why.
for
why we were
so long.
actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh
yeah, I
god.
had pneumonia and then laryngitis. So it had
Hmm.
delayed things, and so now that I'm like able to talk and whatnot, it came around to the switch to well, because they had a teaser, and then it was like, okay, I'm coming April 2nd when we're gonna have more details. So, ta-da, here we are, and that was today.
Let's
And
also not forget the fact that they did that like random Nintendo Direct a full week beforehand, like the literal most Nintendo thing ever. You
Oh
know,
yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, Nintendo is very. They really dance to the beat of their own drum. They really. One thing I will say, they really have changed how information gets out, and now everyone has kind of followed suit. You have PlayStation, what do they call it? Let's
State of
Plays
Play.
or something. State of Play, and then Xbox has their version too, and it's really kind of caused less emphasis on the E3 like
Oh,
extravaganzas, which I don't even know like what state is E3
E3
in
is
right now?
dead. Like it
that's
actually
dead.
doesn't
She gone
exist
girl.
anymore. Like yeah,
Right. So
she
like
yeah.
everybody's kind of like doing their own thing, and Nintendo was the kind of the trendsetter in terms of that, and in how they deliver things and announce and generating their own hype around these announcements and things like that.
I mean,
Um,
having a direct is now it's become like a colloquialism. It's the same as like it's not tissue paper, it's Kleenex. Everyone just calls it a direct.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Totally.
has. So they opened the direct today, and they actually had like a new intro, like with they have like a new they've had like a standard intro for directs during the whole Switch era, and now they've kind of updated it with new colors and everything. And when they did the reveal of the console, um, when was it? Like in February, I think it was.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it
Right?
was February. Yeah.
The only game they showed was Mario Kart.
Hmm.
Um, and we didn't know anything else in terms of like games. They didn't talk about like literally anything else. But this, they opened the show with Mario Kart, and we learned that it's Mario Kart World, which is going to have different vehicle types, which showed like
A
scooters and like
boat.
boats and all these sort of things. So RIP Wave Race, RIP F Zero. Those games are dead. They're not coming back. So
Yeah, F Zero. Like, I mean, F Zero died like when Mario Kart 8 came out
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Wii U. Back
Yeah.
then, but yeah,
but it's official. Like Wave Race and F Zero are not happening. So if you ever had any hopes of playing those again, no. What you can play is F Zero GX on Switch Online. Get to that later. Anyway, so there's like new items. You have like you can do stunts on pipes, drive on walls, and now they have outfits. There's atmosphere changes.
There's a
So like
cow.
There
you
is
can
a
Yes.
cow.
drive the
Yeah, there's like Moo Moo Meadows.
Is
Like,
it literally
she's
just
on.
is there more to
I
that
think it's
cow than just it's
one of the
just
cows from Moo Moo Meadows. Yeah.
incredible. You
right.
just hit the cow and it's like fuck you. I'm getting I'm
And now
getting a
she can
scooter
have
and I'm taking you down.
cosmetics and everything, right?
Yep.
Like,
Um,
Cosmetics.
so it's kind of like an open world game, and like they've changed it in terms of like you'd have like your course, not what do they call the cups, and you'd have
mhm.
four courses, and you do one race, one race, one race. So now what it is you have your cup, and it's one race and like winner, and then drive to the next one, and then next race. It's like literally kind of just like one long continuous race through like different parts of the world.
I think
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like
like
really cool
That is cool.
idea,
Yep.
yeah, you can drive anywhere, so you don't necessarily need to drive on the straight path. Like it's more open in terms of where you can drive. And like previously in Mario Kart, it's very on rails, and if you go off the courses, you drive slower. So it looks like that's kind of changed.
Lucky
Um,
Two lost a job now. She's done. What's she gonna
well,
do? I guess. Well, I guess she'll still hold
no,
the
she's still
lights at
holding
the
the
beginning.
camera, right? Because now you can
Yeah.
like take selfies with all your girls. Like there was a picture of all the princesses, like taking a
Yep.
picture together, which I thought was really cute. 4 drivers per map. That's crazy. Because back in the day it was 8. Then she went to 12, and now they doubled it with 24 people. That's a lot of bitches.
That's a
That's a
lot
Mm-hmm.
of
lot of
noise
shit
on a
flying
screen.
everywhere. That's
Yeah,
what
that's
that
kind of
is.
what I'm a bit worried about.
So I'm really curious how the item balance is going to work out because notoriously in Mario Kart games, if you are first to fourth, you have like a normal race, and all the bitches in the back are just yo-yoing because of like
Yeah.
stars, red shells, golden mushrooms, like like it's just it's literally a whole different race for everybody
Yeah.
back in behind fourth,
If you're
right?
Yep.
beyond ninth, you've got a whole different strategy. You're bagging. You're just trying to get the nice items so that you can just smuggle it through to the end, and that's how you win. You don't try and
Mm-hmm.
drive fast.
Right.
So adding in more chaos to that, I we'll see.
Yeah.
But
It'll be
Well, and
whatever. I'm
interesting
it's
to
sure
like
it'll
see
be
how
up
it
to
fun.
24, right? So you can probably set it lower if you want
I
to, I guess,
yeah,
right? But
I didn't look
we'll
into it. I
see.
wonder if it's like, yeah, you can have 24, but in the same way that you can have people play Smash Brothers. Nobody fucking plays that way, but you can.
Mm.
you can, but yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, 24 drivers. One of the interesting modes was like a knockout tour. So like where I guess you have 24 racers, and as
Yeah.
you go through one course, there's like you hit checkpoints, and basically anybody under 20 gets knocked out, and then anybody under 8, like 16, and so on and so forth, will
Fall
get
Guys.
knocked out of the race. So, um,
Oh, good point.
oh yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting mode. I thought that was really all cool. Yeah, coming out is a launch game, and they're doing another direct on the 17th to talk about it in more detail. What are your guys' thoughts?
I I just love that we are one mod away from getting GTA Mushroom Kingdom. Like it's all there. Just need to give Toadette a gun and we're set. Like it's gonna
No,
be great.
you need to give Toad a
I
gun because
love
Toad
it.
is
Toad's
more
Sniper
crazy.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah.
I
Who
would
needs
scream into
GTA
the
6?
microphone, but I don't want to do that to our listeners.
Yeah, we can't do that on our first try back.
No, we don't want to scare them away. Not yet, at
I
least.
love it.
So then they went into like talking about the Switch 2 features in more detail, and one of the things they showed was like the C button on the controllers, and we learned that the C button is like the
Just like
communication button.
just a little ridiculous.
This is
Like
like
literally, this is another one of these like Nintendo things, and like there were so many rumors for so long, like going through all of this stuff,
Yeah,
right? And it's
yeah.
like there's a C button. It was like, oh well, the GameCube had like the C stick, like there was this and that, right? And
Hmm.
then they're like, sorry, Delvin, to spoil, like
Yeah, like
chat.
it's just the communication button. They basically put Discord into the Nintendo OS.
not Discord. That looked like MS Teams. Like we were
No, no, no. It's
Microsoft
Teams.
Teamsing
Discord.
in
It's
It's
there.
like
Discord on
MS
an
It's like
iPhone
MS
4.
This
Yeah.
is
iPhone
stressing me
4
out.
Discord.
Honestly, okay, what I
It
will
was like
say,
Teams calls. Yeah.
the concept of what they put there, I
Yeah.
think is a good thing, right?
Mhm.
Because as we are on now older gamers, playing together all together in one room doesn't happen as frequently as it did in like your 20s or whatever.
Youth.
So this
Mhm.
feature is clearly for us. It's not for kids to play with their friend who probably lives down the street, right? They'll just go to each other's house.
No,
This
the
is for
kids
us,
don't leave
right?
the
Oh, see,
house
no, I
anymore.
think it's
Do,
actually
do
for the
they do
kids
they go to
because
each
they're not
other's
Yeah,
houses
allowed to
anymore?
like
kids don't
leave
leave
the
the house
house. Like,
anymore.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
no.
100%.
Yeah, there's a whole
Wow.
thing when like sleepovers. It's like a whole thing now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I
times
think it's
have
Well,
for them.
changed.
okay. Well, I guess this is for everybody, but I do think I do like the idea, right? I
Yeah.
think it's great. The microphone's there. You can we could all be like on this call right now, but all be playing something different. We can see that James is playing Breath of the Wild and Michael's playing Kirby, whatever. Like I like
I'd
that.
be playing Ace Attorney like we
No.
Whatever, right? What I don't like is the 10 FPS
What was
situation.
that?
Like I
Yeah.
don't I don't think they should have shown that.
Dude, like,
Like that was
But you know what?
bad.
I kind of like that they did show that because I actually think it's so much better to be like, yeah, we made it. This is what it is. Like, this is what it is, rather than like, going
I,
Apple and being like,
just don't show it
ooh,
at all.
Siri's gonna be smart, and then like not like literally faking a tech demo. Like, I will give them props for like leaning into here's what it is.
right.
And I mean the other thing too, because remember though, like you're playing your game and your game is running well.
True.
Like peripherally, like your vision will be focused on
On
the
your
stuff, and you
game.
might be glancing at other
True.
stuff, right?
So
I don't know, guys.
realistically,
We've had streaming, like video game streaming, for since we were doing this. Like,
no,
record a video and send
absolutely.
it out. Like,
And and it doesn't need to be like super great performance, right? I agree
Mhm.
with what you're saying, Michael. But it was like 10 F. It was like
it's yeah,
real choppy.
it's a
It was
PowerPoint
really crunchy,
presentation. You're
right?
playing Microsoft Office. You've got MS Teams and you're watching a PowerPoint. Like,
It
Yeah, like
it
the
was a
frame.
little. It was a little. Yeah.
It
It's
was a
like, can
little
you see my screen?
crunchy,
Let me know
Yeah.
if you can't see my screen.
I am
right?
not a cat.
So that was something that I was like, okay, whatever. But then they also showed that they had they created the Switch camera, which has
Yeah.
facial recognition, and you can integrate your face into games. So like when we're all playing Mario Party, you can see um, people's reactions. If we
Can
were
you
all sitting
believe
at home playing Kirby and James stole my ninja item, then I could see his face aggressively stab the ninja, and he could see my face being upset and mad about it in real time
Yeah.
at 10 FPS, but he would still see.
The faces though didn't look too bad, like
No.
like in
Yes.
terms of like they were a little like jaggy like on the edges and whatnot, but like that still seemed to be like an okay FPS. It was like the game
it was the game.
transmission
That
seemed to
was
be the worst thing. But
Yes.
can we just take a moment to talk about the fact that Nintendo was like, here's a camera, like that's actually
That's
like
That's a big
for
step for
them.
Nintendo.
Ooh, wow. Like, I'm curious to see that parental controls app and what that's
Yes.
looking like, in 2025. Yeah, a camera from Nintendo, like, I don't know, that to me is surprising.
Yeah, I would. They didn't even have voice chat, right? And like the voice chat was through an app, and all that. So
Which no one used.
them taking this step is a big thing, but they also have to kind of realize that there are certain things that are just much more normalized, such as video chat and communication in video games, and to not have it would have been, a step backwards. I'm glad that they took this step though to kind of integrate it into the game, so you can
Mm.
kind of. I did like how you can see like your character moving around like the Mario Party map and things like that, and it'll be interesting to see how they implement this in other games and how other third parties might use this. Um, like maybe in like I don't know, Fortnite or something like that for like kids or whatever. So I don't know.
Based
I
on
think that would be
Ariana
Okay, so then
Grande.
here's the question though.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
buying it? Who's buying? Are any of y'all
The
buying
camera?
it? Yeah.
I'll buy
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna buy it. I love wonky Nintendo peripheral eras. I love
Oh
when
yeah,
they
did you get the
release like
clock?
Oh, she
janky
got the
ass.
Larmo.
Yeah, I got a Larmo. I got nauseated 3D Switch headset. I got the Wii Talk, like the Wii thing that you plugged into your Wii so you could talk in Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I love weird Nintendo peripherals.
Yeah,
I love them.
I still have my balance board.
Oh yeah, I have a
Oh, I've
balance
got
board. Yeah.
the Ring
I
Fit
have the
thing.
Ring
Ring
Fit. The
Fit,
Yeah,
Ring Fit.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Nintendo is the peripheral queen.
yes,
Like they love a peripheral.
So I
That's
was
yes.
for
reading the Q&A like things. Remember in the presentation they were talking about like, oh, and we're gonna also have like articles that you can read on our website with like interviews with the staff or something, right? So I was reading one of them and it was actually interesting because they were talking about like on your previous consoles, like the DS and the Wii had like unique control schemes, and then I guess obviously the Switch shifted in some way, but like typically you guys have like changed between generations. Like why not this time? And then they were like, well, Ring Fit was like a way to introduce a new control thing bundled with a game that sold well, that did well. So it sort of made us realize like maybe we don't need to make the whole console about an idea for one game. And so
hmm
that's why we're sticking with it. And then they literally said like, yeah, so if we have interesting ideas, we'll ship a thing with that game that will work with the console. And it was like, smart. Good.
I
Yeah,
Good
love that.
decisions.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
when you to when you think about that, like when they made N64 and that controller, it was because of Mario 64 and like just how they designed the controller and like
Mm,
it rings true for Nintendo. But
I like.
so yeah, they are also now introducing or bringing back a feature that they had for 3DS, which is game sharing. So games such as like Clubhouse games or like some maybe other simplistic multiplayer games, you can now have one person have the game and then you all share across your Switches. The interesting thing is that you can also share it with a Switch One. So
For
Mm.
that'll be interesting
certain games, like
for
if the
certain
game is
games.
on Switch One. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but the door is open for that because it essentially you're kind of just screen sharing. It's downloading some data, of course, but I think the type of games that will lend to this feature will not be like your high FPS performing games. So it probably will allow it on Switch
You
One.
mean no Elden Ring with game share?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's gonna be a no for sure.
I'm still shocked about some of those. I know we'll talk about them, but those games are wild. I mean,
I
I'm never
know.
gonna play them, by the way, because I hate those games and they terrify me.
Yeah,
But
Same.
not
but
for me. Not for
yeah,
me.
they are
You
big
know.
steps for Nintendo. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in the third party showcase. So anyway, in continuing with like the performance and stuff about the Switch, they did talk about like the bigger screen, 1080p HD in handheld, which is an upgrade from the 720p of the current Switch. It is goes up to 120 FPS, HDR support. They show the magnetic attach. It's got bigger SL and SR buttons, bigger control sticks. The Joy-Con can be used as a mouse, which was kind of teased in the thing before. Um, so both controllers can be used as a mouse, not just the one, both.
Mouse
Better
thing
speak.
That is
is
that
wild. Sorry, just have to say.
Yeah,
that is
I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Sorry, Cam, but like it's just wild.
it's by far of everything they showed. That's the one thing that I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. Because I what and again we'll talk about it, but it was not only like, all right, it's a mouse, so yes, you could use it in a shooter. Yes, you could use it in Civ 7. But then they showed some of like the interesting like games. We'll get there, but
yeah,
like
There's interesting stuff, but like it is also like probably the most unergonomic mouse ever invented.
absolutely.
Like
Yes.
it'll
the
be
thing that
yeah,
if they let you also just like use a Bluetooth mouse with the system as well for games that like I think that would be great. Obviously like Civ 7 is like such an obvious example of like where that would be useful, but like I don't know, like Diablo 4 or something like that, right?
Yeah. Or like navigating menus. It seems like when they showed like Metroid Prime, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Great. I can't use a joystick anymore. I need to use a mouse. But then seeing some of the other ways that they were using it, I was like, oh well, okay, well maybe it also works as like getting through menus. Like imagine like one of those ridiculous JRPG like menus where you've got all your abilities and your talent trees and stuff, and it'd probably be easier with a mouse than like flipping through on your. So really, that was the cool thing. Yes, like PlayStation and Xbox have had that by virtue of just having a like peripheral mouse, but it's not the same. Like that's just
And it's not
adding a
built in. Like
mouse.
literally everyone with the system has a mouse
Exactly,
now for their
which
system.
also
Yeah.
makes crossplay like again it'll depend on how well it works, but if you look at things like Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, when they have crossplay
Oh,
between different systems, you wind up having to segment the console players out for certain game aspects just because like they operate
The
differently.
control.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I again we haven't seen enough to know if the mouse works well enough to kind of
To put them in the PC house
yeah,
people,
but
basically.
it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mm.
One of the other things that they did mention was the better speaker and that there's a microphone built into the Switch, which apparently it could be like all the way sitting on the TV and you can be at the couch, and it has good voice recognition to be able to only hear you, not hear mom cooking in the background or whatever.
Not hear
So
the blender.
or the
yeah,
blender,
his
yeah,
boyfriend making a smoothie, or roommate. We all saw that video.
right.
White Lotus this Sunday, people. Smoothies.
So anyway, yeah, there's a sturdier stand. There's now two USB-C ports because now they realize, oh shit, you can't charge the Switch while it's sitting on the stand. So they put a USB port at the top now, and
Mm.
the built-in storage is 256 gigs. So they've definitely upped it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know that makes sense, but it's also such like a non-Nintendo move. I feel like I know why it has to be that big, but I feel like they would have been like, well, you had like 8 gigs, and now we're giving you 64.
I know,
We're
right?
gonna charge you a $9,000.
Can we
I was shocked when I
remember
saw 256.
that the
Was
Wii U was 8 gigs? The base Wii U, if you
Mm-hmm.
did not get the deluxe
Which was
edition, was
32.
8 gigs.
my iPhone had more storage than my
Yeah,
Wii U.
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's
Nintendo
that.
is very late to things.
I
And yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
So the dock supports 4K resolution, it has a built-in fan, and then they talked about backwards compatibility. Um, they, which, I mean, we all knew that was coming, right?
Like,
Um,
I'm
Has
glad that
to.
all of this is here, and I'm glad that it's like, the variable refresh, like, and all of that, like, good stuff. And again, like an actual fan, like, cool that it all just literally does seem like lessons learned, things improved.
yeah, like they showed that Metroid Prime 4 runs at 1080p, 120 frames per second in
Mm-hmm.
handheld mode, and 4K 60 frames a second in dock mode. This is a Nintendo game
I
running
know.
in 4K 60 FPS.
Did we ever think we'd see the day?
Right?
No,
Not after we
no.
sat through Scarlet and Violet. Like,
Like,
Oh my god, yeah, girl,
Okay,
Scarlet and Violet. Like,
I know.
love that
Sorry,
game,
James,
but
go.
fuck.
Go, James,
No,
go.
okay, not only just Scarlet. Okay, but it's the Scarlet and Violet were also terrible, right? They were terrible, and I know we're gonna get there. But like, can I just be honest? Like the Switch 2 edition of Pokemon ZA, like
it
it.
needed
Why
it.
do they make their games look like that? Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand the stylistic choice they've made. It makes
There is
everything
no
look like
stylistic choice.
it's an alpha. It looks like an alpha.
Like the
Yeah.
Switch
Like
1 versus the Switch 2 version, you mean, right?
yeah, they look virtually
I didn't notice
identical.
much difference beyond frame rate.
Well, the frame rate, yes. Like, because
Frame
it.
rate. I'm excited about frame rate.
I'm excited
Like,
about frame rate because I
Yeah.
like when I saw the reveal of Pokemon ZA2 or whatever, I was like,
Girl.
it's looking a
That
little
one on
hard.
Pokemon Day was so bad. Like, okay, again, Pokemaniac Michael here. Like, on Pokemon Day, I literally was like messaging a friend. I was like, garbage.
Yeah,
Hate it.
Yeah.
Can't believe we're here again, right?
Like, what is
And
this?
then in the direct last week, they showed a different trailer for it, and I was like, "Oh, is it also just Game Freak is bad at making trailers, and Nintendo cut this trailer?" Because the one last week at least looked far more
Yes.
interesting. And
Yes.
then knowing that it can have a stable frame rate as well makes me be like,
It
okay,
sold me.
I'm going to play because the fucking frame rate on Scarlet and Violet, like I it's so
Frames.
off-putting. It's
It's
so
so
off-putting.
weird that like Breath of the Wild is a thing, and then Scarlet and Violet was a thing. Like, what? This is the same console. Like, visually speaking, the two
Hmm.
games are not
They're both
super
published by
graphically
Nintendo.
right. Like, what happened? In like, is Game Freak just bad at making games?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we can safely say Game Freak at this point is just not great at making games.
Well, maybe they
Well,
need
3D games,
Yeah.
well, they
at
need some
least.
help. Well, I mean, when you think about it, like, no shade, but they had been making like 2D basic Pokemon. Like, look at their library of games. They're like 2D
We
scrolling. Like,
we the first time they went 3D was when we started this podcast, like episode like 8 or something like that, or episode
yeah,
13 is
Um,
why be basic when you can be extravagant.
right?
oh
I
my
love
The
that.
one
I
god,
love that.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. Side
Yeah.
note, nobody likes that. I loved X and Y.
I
I
loved
love
X and
X and
So
Y.
I
Y.
was
I
excited
love
for
X
Z
and Y.
and then or
Yeah.
Z or whatever we're calling it. Um, but yeah, no, James is completely right. It's just devoid of like style or like aesthetics. It looks like a shovelware Digimon game from 5 years ago, kind of thing, you know? Like,
You're not wrong. Like you're
like
not
100%.
wrong, especially
especially,
ZA, right? Like, you
yeah,
know.
and like look at ZA and I Legends Arceus was not my favorite Pokemon game, but at least it had an aesthetic to it. It
Hmm.
wasn't much of one, but it was more than any of these other ones, and this just sort of sucked it all out. And it's like you're in fucking France, make it
You got it.
gay, fuck
You got it.
off,
Yeah.
It's like
like
sterile France.
so sterile.
Yeah,
Like
it's a choice.
Christ.
France.
Sorry.
It's
No, it's
okay.
fine. We're just getting to it
No.
now and
It's
not getting to it
okay.
later.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing, they showed this welcome tour game
Which I
that
was on board with.
So on board
I was
with
so on board
until
because it was like, okay, this is how the Switch 2 works. This is how it was designed. We're
it's
gonna
so
give you some
It
cute.
was
tech
Astrobot. It was
games.
Astrobot, like
Oh,
the Astro's Playroom on PS5. I was like, oh wow, like we're just learning lessons from everybody,
Right.
right?
Like, I was
Like,
like, this is great. This is fantastic. It's paid.
what the
Mama,
actual
Fuck you.
living fuck? Like,
who is paying money to play this demo? Because that's pretty much what it is of
You're paying for
how the Switch was made and these little tech demo games. Who's paying for
I
this?
never would have thought that 1-2 Switch would get a redeeming moment. It's here. It's here apparently. It's this, and it's like when people were like, why will people buy 1-2 Switch? That should be a free pack-in game, right? It's like, well, at least that was like a
An actual
game.
game.
Like an actual game you can theoretically, realistically play as a group of people. Like, and they didn't announce the price, so like maybe it'll just be like
This
99 cents. But at the
this
same
nothing.
point, if it's
no,
99
it's
cents,
gonna
then
be
who
19.99. It's gonna be
this cannot be
19.99.
more than $5. And
No,
I'm
I think
being
it's gonna be $20.
overly generous with
And it better
$5.
include horse armor for your Skyrim
yeah,
character or
totally.
whatever.
You know what I'm
Like,
excited about? I'm excited to read reviews of this game, like comical reviews of this game.
This should at least be included free with like the Nintendo Switch Online. And like, who's
It may
That's such
be.
a
It
good
may be.
point.
It may be though.
oh,
It
who's
may come
buying
bundled with
this?
It may come bundled with NSO though. To be fair, like
that
it
actually
But
that
then
Nobody's
why
buying
not
it.
announce that
makes sense. But
today?
yeah,
Like,
Nobody's
why not
buying
announce
it.
that today?
Let's
listen,
be honest.
this is very like I feel like old school Japanese Nintendo taking over on this one. It's like when they sold 3DSs in Japan without chargers. You had to buy the chargers separately. So
They did
this
that
to
in
me
North
is like one of
America.
those
That happened
things
here
where
too,
like
girl.
no, but like that was a while, but that was
Yeah,
a
it was a
while
while
later.
into it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just saying, like, this feels like old school. They're like, we don't give anything away. We have great momentum. We should be proud of our games.
Yeah, that was a
feels like
choice
that.
that again, we were on
It's a
board, and then they were
thing.
like, pay digital. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. It's you're paying for VR Wikipedia. Like that's what it is.
Very that.
I'll watch a YouTube
VR
video of
Wikipedia.
somebody just summarizing everything. I'll be like,
Well,
that's
and
some really
nothing
cool
about it even looked
information.
gameplay
Well,
wise.
there was the tech demo for the mouse that was like mini putt, shitty Windows 97
Like,
mini putt.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, hold your horses.
There
But it
there
just
are
did
There's
some
look
some
horse
games.
armor.
games.
yeah. To be fair,
Anyways,
it's your fault for not knowing how to use a Nintendo Switch 2. So if you want to learn how to play a game and get
then
good, you
buy.
need to pay.
You need to pay.
Hey, literal
Yeah.
pay to win.
Pay to win.
It doesn't tell you that you can actually like turn on auto aim, but you can only find it after paying for this damn thing
Oh
and
my
getting
I
through
God.
all the
love
little
it.
tutorials.
I love
Incredible.
it. I
Honestly,
love
work.
it.
So then they went into how the Switch 2 only works with micro SD express cards. Your old basic micro SD cards do not work. You need to upgrade your SD cards. If your SD card is in your Switch is not an express, she got to go. She not invited. She's NFI. All right?
I like, it makes sense enough to me in terms of like, okay, you need the speed and everything like that, and this would be a far bigger issue in my mind if they hadn't have upped the on console storage by so much,
True.
right? Because like I think in my Switch I have a 256 gig micro SD card, and now that that's the base, it's like, oh, okay, I'm not even close on that. And they did say, at least reading that article later uh, from like their website, where they did talk about the Switch 2 games are also larger file sizes. So that is also why there is
Mm.
more storage space.
Okay.
But like
Well, yeah, because of
in
all
the
the
article,
textures.
they also say like we really don't anticipate anybody's going to need to use a micro SD express card anywhere near launch, right? Like so then they can come down in price as 20 trillion of them are made because now everybody's going to want one. So
Right.
Mm.
So there's a new Pro controller. It has a C button, the communication button. It has a GL and GR button on the underside of it, which you can use to macro other functions to those buttons underneath. And it has an audio jack for, I assume, a headset that will come at a later date. And then they
or do
announced
you think that's just for like plugging your headphones in and being able to like literally have the audio output of the system come through like just a plugged in headphone?
potentially. I
That
mean,
was my guess. Yeah.
potentially. My first guess was for headset because like the Xbox has a similar thing. So does PlayStation, where you
I
plug in
guess
your
it's also got
communication headset.
the chat button, game chat.
Yeah. Um, and the launch date was announced of June 5th, which is in 2 months. Which this is the
Soon.
first. No, when they announced the Switch, they announced it in January and it came out in March, right?
I think that in October was when
I
uh,
think they
uh
teased it.
they teased it in October, and then I think January was when they did the direct, and then it
Right,
came out in March.
right. Came out March 10th, right? Mario Day, third. Okay. Anyway, Um, so anyway, they went in to talk about Switch 2 edition games. Now, so this is their way of taking Switch games and giving them life on Switch 2. Some of them are going to be um, graphical upgrades. So Metroid Prime 4, Pokemon Legends 2, Breath of the Wild 1 and 2, better performance, and then some games are going to basically be DLC upgrades of existing games. So Mario Party Jamboree has a completely upgraded version, which adds in mouse controls, adds in the audio recognition for games, adds in the camera support with the one single camera. So basically, four people can be sitting on a couch with one camera, and everybody's head is like integrated into the game. All those sort of things. And then also, so that launches on July 27th. If you bought the game already, there's an upgrade pack option. Um, there's
I
a lot of
wonder what that pricing is going to be. What the upgrade pack pricing is going to be.
yes. So there is a lot of discourse online around the pricing. So we do know that what the prices are in Japan for some of them. So like Kirby and the Forgotten Lands plus Star-Crossed Worlds, which comes with improved graphics and new levels, the upgrade is going to be $20. So in like they did a
Oof.
they saw how much it costs in Japan. they did the conversion. It's about 20 USD, so that's probably going to be about like $35 Canadian for just extra levels and improved graphics. So some of them are just going to be free. So Breath of the Wild 1 and 2, if you have NSO, you get it for free. Some of the
I
other
didn't
games
realize that.
are
Okay.
so yeah, these were things that were announced after they were not announced in the direct itself. Some of the other games are just going to have improvements. They didn't really get into specifics. They just said may run better. So like if you're playing Mario Wonder, it'll load faster. Like you're not going to see massive graphical improvements. It's just some games that, kind of chugged on there. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was on that picture graphic that's on the
Yeah,
website.
thank God.
um, will perform better, basically, because it's operating on basically a better computer.
But what's funny is that website with the thing, it says like, may experience like, improved performance
Right.
or new features such as game chat, and like fucking leave it to Pokemon Company to somehow have made a game so broken that it still doesn't actually run any better. But they're like, but you can game chat now and it's
Right.
even laggier that way.
You
Like,
can game chat while you battle. Like, yeah, I can very much see that happening. So what do you
Screen
guys
share all the bugs in your game.
so yeah, what are your guys thoughts on like the upgrades, the paying for
Ugh.
basically better performance on for some games? Because they're going to charge you for that for Metroid, right? Like there's going to be a
but
Nintendo.
but Nintendo Switch 2 editions as well will also be like a SKU that you can just buy off the shelf. So rather than
Yes,
buying Metroid Prime for the original Switch, if you own a Switch 2, you would just straight up buy the Switch
correct.
2
Yes,
SKU, right?
So, like, I think people deserve to get paid for their work on all that sort of stuff, obviously. But this kind of feels like a slight enshittification of. And I'm not saying no one else does it, but like it feels like they've kind of like had to give up on certain things, and like now they're charging subscriptions, they're doing the platform thing. We're gonna try to like scrape, another $20-$30 off the top of everybody and everything. Like it just feels like they've had to kind of give into that to meet where how you make money nowadays. Like, but like if they had just said, hey, we're just gonna make all brand new games, some are the new editions, and we're gonna charge you $90, that's almost kind of easier to swallow, or $80
right.
than,
I
oh
agree.
well, you have this card, now do this and pay me $20, but it's gonna be 40 gigs on your 250 gig system. Oh, and you need NSO to play it so you can do the chat, and if you don't pay NSO, then the chat doesn't work. Like it starts to feel kind of
Yes.
like,
Like when you really
you
break it
know
down, like a lot of these things are things that are kind of already happening on in the PlayStation Xbox space. You want to play online, you need Xbox Online, you need PlayStation Online. If you want to play Tomb Raider Definitive Edition from PS4 to PS5, you literally got to buy the game all over again. Or I don't even know, do they have like an upgrade option? I think they did,
On
right?
PS5 they did with certain things, but I don't know if it was there for everything. Yeah.
Right, and you had to pay an upgrade fee essentially, right?
That was only $10 for any of those, right? Like,
Right.
so the fact that this was already listed at um 20, and in Canada we were lucky because I think it was 10 in the US, and they're just like, yeah, and it's 10 in Canada too. Like it's just $10
Yeah,
because like, you know, like I at least hope that amount doesn't scale in relation to currency, and that like, cuz like $20 I can be convinced of. I've
yeah, like
It's
if
half
we
the
get
game.
yeah. So
No.
that's going to be there's going to be some issues on that. And I want to get more into a price discussion later on. But yeah, so they're going to have like Switch 2 editions. What I will say is Nintendo is obviously learning from um, previous launches of consoles. When the Wii U launched, it had no games, right? And it caused the system to not sell, and then third parties didn't want to get on board, et cetera, et cetera. And when they brought on the Switch, they brought in a lot of Wii U games to say, hey, well, you guys never played these, so play them here. And they're kind of applying the same policies here to be like, here are these games. Maybe you did play them or whatever, but if you didn't, you can now play them on your Switch, and there's like better features. So it's bolstering the library of Switch 2 right out of the gate, right? And I think that's a really good thing. because we don't want to end up with a Wii U situation where there's Nintendo Land and what else did it launch with?
Uh,
Like
yeah.
Oh, there was a Ninja Gaiden game. Ninja
no, but
Gaiden
I
like
TV.
literally think it was
what
Nintendo
did
Land.
Nintendo launch it with?
New Super Mario Brothers U.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Oh,
but that was it. Yeah, yeah.
right? There was nothing.
Yeah, I agree
Like
with you, Delvin.
so it's good that now it's like, well, now you have Breath of the Wild 1 and 2 with upgraded options. You got Mario Party, you got Donkey Kong, you got this, you got all these options right out of the gate, which I think is a much better improvement with them going
They
with this option.
clearly seem to have
hmm
a little less totally ready to go. Unlike, remember, like, because the Wii U died so early that they just held on to a bunch of games. So the first year of the Switch was like
All Wii U
incredible,
games.
right?
Yeah.
It was everything. Like every 2 months, there was like a brand new first party, highest quality Nintendo game, right?
Hmm.
And so this, like, we do have, I guess, like, we've got some of it later, but like Mario Kart World and then the Donkey Kong game, and then like, but there wasn't a ton of other stuff that they really have sort of said that seems like big in the way like Mario Odyssey was big for the
Mm.
first year of the Switch, and I think they are sort of riding a little bit on the fact that there is the backwards compatibility and there's so much more third-party support, whereas when the Switch launched, there was no guarantee of third-party support.
Right. They had to basically prove themselves, and they had that Wii U back catalog to bolster itself at the beginning, and then this time coming in, they don't necessarily need that. They have a little bit of reputation they can rely on, and now they have the third parties support. Like that we're coming into that now. Like the third party showcase and the montage of third party games
Yeah.
was insane. Like remember, Nintendo is notoriously the console or the brand with no third party games. And now they are Elden Ring. Now they're Street Fighter 6 Fighters Edition, Daemon X Machina. Well, I mean that's more Japanese, so probably would have got that. And EA has decided to come back home.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
honestly, they can fuck off for all I care. I'm sorry. Like,
I
I'm
mean, they
sorry.
they lost FIFA, so they're kind of like,
Did they
we
lose
need
FIFA?
something. Yeah,
Mm,
they lost
Like,
that license,
Oh,
or gave it up. I don't give a fuck about
I'll never
that.
forget that it was like 3 or 4 years into the Switch, and EA was still like, "Yeah, we're waiting to see how the Switch does," and it was like, "Fuck off!" Like, we don't need you. We don't need your
This was a
games.
personal attack.
No, like
the official Nintendo response was
no,
that to
honestly,
EA.
because EA just acts like they're so high and mighty, and they're not that girl anymore in the game space. They're just not. Once upon a time, EA was that girl, and
she
no more.
aged. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It,
know.
but yeah, the other games, just gonna quickly rattle through all of them. We're not gonna talk about all of them. Hades 2, Split Fiction. I have never heard of this game. I don't know what that is, but it seemed
It was new. I think it
exciting.
just came out.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's I think it's same people that did that It Takes Two, like
Yeah.
co-op
And
game. Like,
a way out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They always
yeah,
do like co-op games. Yeah.
yeah,
You play as two women's. That
yep.
has people very upset.
Of course, everything's a fucking
Male
multiple.
erasure. All right.
Hogwarts Legacy, with mouse controls. Tony Hawk 3 and 4. Um,
Yeah, it's got mouse.
Do we
Okay,
need mouse controls in
it's
Hogwarts
probably to do the
Legacy?
stupid little like wand like
Oh,
trace
okay.
things.
I
Like,
yeah.
did love that game, by the way. I did love that game. It was a very good game.
Hitman. Um, there were there teased a James Bond game. Bravely
Mm.
Default is getting an
Bravely
HD
Default.
remake. It's out
Another
on day
game I
one.
never finished.
we know.
Well, you can buy it
I
again.
bought it twice.
You can buy it again and not finish it. Yakuza Zero. Um, one of the games that okay, so I was watching the stream and people in the chat from the time the stream started kept saying Silk Song, and I had no
Yeah,
idea
cool.
what the fuck
Oh,
that was.
girl. Silk Song. These
But
people have been hammering on Silk Song for like a decade.
I think it's because they were like 12 when it got announced, and now they're like still harping like on it, like 6 years
Can
later.
can I get context? I saw the 2 seconds, and I saw that
well,
people lost their minds.
this is
What?
So it's Hollow Knight, I guess,
Yes,
a
it's
sequel,
like the
right?
sequel.
It's a
It's a
Yes.
sequel
sequel,
to
yeah.
Hollow Knight, and I just thought it was so funny that from the moment the trailer started, I'm not even joking. It was Silk Song over and over in the chat, and I had no idea what they're talking about. And then they teased it in a fucking
2 seconds.
montage for 2 seconds. I was like,
But it did say 2025, and that's the first information that's been about that
right.
game since 2019. Like, she's basically Metroid Prime Ford, you know?
So this game doesn't exist yet. This was a sequel people have
No.
been waiting.
Yes.
Yeah, since
Yes.
2019.
And
Oh,
now
oh
they
wow,
got
that's
devs
so
like
funny.
now they
four
got like
years
some
ago.
they got
Yeah.
some tease and reveal for 2 seconds in a montage. I was like, wow, that's kind
God,
of
that's rude.
They're
That's
now
fucking
obsessed.
rude.
now
Gotti,
to,
Gotti.
to
Yeah.
be fair, I'm sure that this will make an appearance on Treehouse tomorrow and Friday. There's going to be
Wait, they're doing tree houses?
they're doing
2 days
Treehouse,
worth of tree
2 days
houses.
worth of Treehouse, so you know there's going to be more reveals, and they're going to go into a lot of these games in more detail.
When was this said?
It was on their social. And if you download
Earlier this week, they
and if you
announced it.
download Nintendo Today app, Michael, you will get
Yeah, that's my
all this
problem.
news.
Sorry, I don't have
I
Nintendo
did download
today.
it. It's fun.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Deltarune was talked about, which I guess is an
Delta
under
work.
yeah, which is I think an Undertale sequel.
Yeah, so chapters 1 and 2 came out a couple years ago, but I think these are now like basically the final half of the game that I'm pretty sure hasn't ever been released. And so
Okay,
that would have those people very excited if you were
so
a
people
fan.
were excited for that. Borderlands 4 is coming out on Switch too. Is this new or is this like
Borderlands
Yes,
4 is
it's
new, yeah.
new.
is it a
It
new
just
game?
got
Like it's
announced
not
at
out
State
on
of Play,
anything else
right?
either, yeah.
So
Yeah.
was this a first time reveal?
No,
No,
like
we
it's
They've
knew
already
talked
about
about it
this.
before.
exists, but
Yeah.
Got it.
yeah.
Civ 7 on Switch 2 edition,
Work, which I
WWE,
need to just say a quick thing about Civ 7 on Switch, the Switch 2 edition, is that like so now this will be like the actual game because Civ 7 on original Switch you can buy as a game. You can only play. Okay, so there's like on Civ 7 the different map sizes and there's like standard and then like bigger and bigger and bigger. You can't even play the standard map size on the original Switch. You can only play like small, mini, and like Bebe or something like
Yeah.
that. Like you
Wow.
can't even, and
So
they
this
still
will be
charge
like
you the full
the
price
real
of the
thing.
game. So this
Yeah,
is
it's a
like
Wait,
the
fire
actual
hazard
game.
otherwise.
So they did launch Civ 7 on the current Switch,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not just
Yeah. On
wow.
launch
Yeah.
day, and it
Yeah.
literally there's just like a little asterisk on the back being like, oh yeah, and like you can't play in most of the map sizes, but it's still the same price as it is on everything else. So
Of course it is.
Ambitious.
That's bullshit.
Ambitious.
That's
Ambitious.
bullshit.
All right, don't forget until you got to buy all the DLC packs to make the game a full game again. Love Civ games. I am not buying Civ 7 until like for another 2 years,
It's
and
a
then it'll be
it's a
good.
good call because it
Yeah.
feels a lot worse than Civ 6 because I realized I didn't play Civ 6 till it was like like global warming edition, you know,
Canada,
angry
when they
riot
added
edition.
Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I bought Civ 6 on launch, and it was not as good as Civ 5.
Yeah.
And it's just that's how Civ games work.
Lesson learned.
Yep.
Good to know. So
But glad you had your full weekend of doing nothing but playing through one session. That's
yeah,
wild. Those are long
one
games.
campaign.
One
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
Sorry.
sorry, Delvin. I needed to say that because it was like, okay, so this is like the actual game properly that will
you're
like
right.
run okay, as opposed to like
Like it'll
the
actually
current one
work.
is just like a chug fest. I don't have it on Switch, but still.
Um. So Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out for it. You know, this game had like major hype for like years on end. You know, Keanu Reeves wasn't like it was came out on the Microsoft stage and
It was the
blah blah
Silk
blah.
Song of AAA.
Pretty much.
Mm.
FF7, I think we were kind of talking about it. We all suspected that this was coming. It's coming. FF7 integrate the first one.
But not the
Which
second one.
the
But then
second
they
one,
did have a thing that said like, "Stay tuned for announcements on the rest of the
Oh, okay.
trilogy."
yeah,
Like
the
so.
for sure the
It's
rest will
coming.
come out because
It's coming.
honestly, Square is at this point in gaming where they are not loyal to anybody. Like they're putting their shit out on everything. Capcom
Yeah.
is going in that same direction too. Monster Hunter came out on everything day one. Like I think
iPhone SE.
yeah, I think we're really
iPhone 16e.
not SE, girl.
Pocket edition.
But I think we are slowly moving away from the third party era of exclusives on certain consoles because I really think they're realizing that people will, and I think PC is mostly to blame slash thank for this because there's been more of a shift of people moving to PC gaming, and I think they're just starting to realize that there's no benefit to just timed exclusives. Like if a company, and I think the companies are also realizing that too, right? Because the companies were paying money to say be on our console for X amount of months before you go to another, and they thought that that would lure people to buy their console to play the game first. Turns out, LOL, no, we're not. We're just going to wait and play something else because, there's so many games. So if I can't play this game right now, that's fine. I'll wait 6 months when it comes out on the other thing. So I think both companies are just like Sony's like, you know what, it's not worth paying the money for it. And then Square and Capcom and the other ones are just like, we can just make money. We don't need your extra money kind of thing. So I think
I'm surprised no Monster Hunter though with that. I
it's
am
coming.
surprised Wilds was not in that
I am
recap.
surprised as well, but I know it's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely.
100% it's coming. It's just a matter of when, right?
I kind of regret buying a PS4.
Well, you can trade it in. You might need it to.
I'm gonna do that.
You might need to.
That's such.
To
I forgot you
afford
could
the
do that
Switch
anymore.
because
I
it's
forgot you could do that anymore.
gonna be a little expensive. Um, to just round back to something that was talked about in terms of first party, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment, which is kind of a Breath of the Wild prequel. It talks about it goes into the events that happen before Breath of the Wild. So I
And
don't
Tears of the
think,
Kingdom too.
or yeah, so I don't think Link is in this game.
Didn't we already do that with Age of Calamity though?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
we not already
did.
go
And I
back in
guess Age of
time?
Imprisonment is like, because like remember in
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda goes back in time, right? And then it's like, so I agree with you, Delvin. I don't think Link's in this, right? And
Yeah,
then now it's like her being and like all of that. It's like you're playing like more of that, you know?
yeah. One of the things that we also have noticed a shift as Nintendo went from Wii U to Switch and now Switch 2 is how they've leveraged third parties. I think it's honestly a very genius and smart way to get third parties on board and make money on their consoles because one of the complaints that third parties have made is that nobody buys our games on your console. They only buy Nintendo games, right? And so, now they've made this partnership of like, okay, fine, you make one of our games and we'll work with you to make it. So you have Ubisoft who made the Rabbids, you have Koei Tecmo who has been making the Hyrule Warriors games, and it has been a great partnership. And they've been leveraging it in other ways to have the third parties like make these games, and it's a great way to bolster the library and get third parties on board. It's I just think it's been a smart idea.
Mm.
I hope to see that more. I would love to see them let other companies take leverage of all their IPs. I know I said it was dead, but you could let somebody make an F-Zero game. Just saying.
Sega,
Like,
obviously.
just take those IPs that are, not really doing anything and give it to somebody who can do something with it.
Do you remember on that when Nintendo started to pay Bandai Namco to help them?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we can't finish Smash.
Yeah.
Pay Bandai Namco. We can't do Kirby. Pay Bandai Namco.
We
But
need
it
Breath of the
worked.
Wild to run better. Monolith Soft, right?
But
You know
it
who needs to
worked.
help? They need to help Game Freak.
Yes, exactly.
I mean-
Somebody help
Meeting
Game
probably
Freak. Maybe
happened,
like
and
what who made Deltarune? Tobey Maguire. Maybe he can help Game Freak.
I'm sure that they like
Wait, what?
probably
Toby something. Who is it?
Toby
something.
Fox, I think.
Thank
Tobey
you. sorry.
Maguire,
Toby
Spider-Man.
Maguire, yeah. Spider-Man, upside down kissing and everything. Yeah.
Okay. And then
Well, if he was involved, then it would end up being a Sony exclusive because Spider-Man can only be
Oh.
on Sony.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
yeah, there was a bunch of other third-party games The big one that people are going crazy for was the Dusk Bloods, which is a From Software game. It's like the Souls, Bloodborne games. Quite frankly, I am not into those games. But this was a big win for like Nintendo as a whole in terms of their image of like Nintendo's always had this image of it's the kid console, like it doesn't have the AAA games that the bros want. Blah, blah, blah. So this Dusk Bloods game is a Switch 2 exclusive. Um, I hope it runs better than it did in the video because it looked like it ran at 26 FPS. Um,
Yeah, the anti-aliasing was not.
Once it
No.
overclocks on docked mode, no, I'm kidding, but I am like yeah, excited for the people who are excited for these games. The thing that
yeah,
astounds me about this, though, the thing that astounds me is like, how the fuck does the studio make so many freaking games? Like, I don't understand how they have all this time.
It's kind of the same
Same
game,
game.
yeah.
Yes, okay,
templates,
fair.
right? I feel like people will get mad at me for saying that, but it's kind of like
They're not
it's
drastically different games.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
different
probably
themes
always like the
applied.
same engine. It's just like just make it look slightly different and just make sure that something has arms where it shouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
The look of the game kind of reminded me of Eternal Darkness. Anyone remember that
Ooh,
game
good point.
from
Yes.
GameCube era?
Yeah.
It kind of gave, I don't know, when I was looking at it, I was like, is this an Eternal Darkness like resuscitation moment? But that was Retro Studios, who doesn't exist anymore, right? They went to
Retro still
Mi-
exists, but it was someone, yeah,
they went to
Silicon
Microsoft.
Knights, Silicon Knights.
Yeah, Silicon,
Silicon
Knights, that's
Knights.
what it was.
Sorry,
Yeah. My goodness.
but they don't exist anymore, right?
No,
Because
no,
anyway,
because for reasons we will not get into.
anyway, um, new Kirby game, Kirby Air Riders. Sakurai got his game. They let him out of the dungeon and said, okay, you can stop working on Smash. You can do whatever game you want. And he said, I want to do Kirby Air Riders. Now,
Basically.
if you ask me, the game that should have been revealed to use the mouse, which I actually skipped on that one, instead of
Yeah.
the mouse game that they showed, which was
Dragon
the
Drive or Dragon
Dragon
something.
Drive, the wheelchair
Yeah.
basketball game,
Yeah.
which I thought was cool.
That's
It'll be
so
interesting
cool.
to see how it works, moving the things and like throwing the ball. But Kid Icarus,
Yeah, I know. Everyone was betting on Kid Icarus.
like
Mm,
that was the game to show with the mouse.
Yeah. And not get carpal
remember,
tunnel
this is
from
a
playing
long
it.
console life cycle. This was
True.
8 years this just went, right?
Or
So
we're
if you
not
use the mouse all at once, you
true,
know.
true. So there's still
It
time.
was weird. It was weird though, Delvin, when you said Mario Kart. You're like, we're not getting an F-Zero, we're not getting, Wave Race, but we are gonna get Kirby's Air Ride because Sakurai wants to make Kirby's Air Ride.
Well, I honestly thought that was interesting that they revealed this now, because generally the Kirby games are notoriously gap fillers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
it is rare to launch with a Kirby game.
Right, like it's like we have a
Interesting.
gap here, throw a Kirby game in here, like a Kirby Golf, a Kirby whatever.
I don't
So,
think
like-
there's ever been a Kirby Golf, but
No,
I'm
but
There
you
has
know what I
been.
mean? Like the Kirby is just that character that is just amorphous, can go into any type of genre. So I feel like Air Riders, along with Mario Kart, like two racing games from the first party, kind of a weird decision, I think.
Well, it's because they've got to put Sakurai back in the Smash Bros. Dungeon. Like,
I
he,
know.
the groundhog showed his head, and he was able to do 6 months of. This joke did not go anywhere.
Oh no, see,
That
for
did
me...
not work. In my head, it was so funny. I was doing
for me-
like 6 more weeks of winter, but then I did 6 months, and then it's like,
It didn't work. It's
I
okay.
feel like
We get
cut
it.
this, cut this, cut
for
this.
Smash, I feel like for Smash, like all they need to do is just like literally like dot export for like the next one like with it and have all of the characters on one card. I honestly think the hardest thing for the next Smash is going to be the fact that they're going to have to just get all of those licensing agreements. But
I think honestly, from a Smash perspective, we know that another Smash is going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen at the beginning of the Switch 2 life cycle. I think you're going to see that year 5,
Year at
6
least.
down the road.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I think they kind of need to basically start over again.
I
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
with
yeah.
you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Last time everyone was here. This time no one's here.
No
no
one's
one's
here.
here.
No, honestly, I'm not even
It's
joking.
just Rosalina.
I want to go back
Rosalina and
to
Toad. That's it.
I want to
Yep.
go back to Smash Brothers with like 8 characters, and then we can
8?
reveal. Yep, you heard me. I said 8, and then we can expand to 16. That's it.
And I want them
Yeah.
redone. I'm sorry. At this point, we've had how many years of these characters playing the exact same?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Fuck it.
I
Wrap it
want.
up. Wrap it up.
No, honestly, I
Not
think.
like Ultimate's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
going
Well,
to
yeah.
it'll
be
still work
backwards
on Switch too
compatible.
as
I mean,
well.
bitches will
Yeah,
still
I
play
agree.
Play
Melee.
melee. It'll be fine. Take a fucking risk. Go for it.
I think
I
it's time
agree.
to change. Like, I'm not even talking like change how the game is played. Like, change the battling. Like, reinvent Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Now I say this and then I won't buy it. But do that. Yeah, do that. No,
Yeah.
seriously. Like
Now
Go
is the
for it.
time to reinvent it. Go back with a smaller core cast of characters. We know now that Smash Brothers is very catered to a specific audience. They wanted to make it the party game. It's not.
it's not.
Like, it is for the hardcore. So just lean into it more, right? Make it a little bit more technical. Make it so people can pick up and play, but lean in more for that fan base that likes that genre, and
Yeah.
bring it back to a core base of characters and make it more in depth than just like up A, forward A. Like, I'm not
It's
saying like
gonna
make it like Dragon Punch and like court, like just Sakurai can think of something. I'm sure he can.
That poor guy.
poor man.
But I would like to see
Yeah.
that happen for Smash Brothers. But anyway, he decided to go with Kirby Air Riders.
Love that for him.
But and, like we literally know nothing about it, right? That was just a CG trailer. Like we
Right.
don't even know what this looks or plays like, right?
No idea. So then they closed out the direct with honestly what looked like was going to be a Mario game.
Yeah, I did think it
Mm.
was New Kingdoms and Odyssey. I thought it was like Odyssey 2.
Yeah,
But the,
like
the eyes on things looked a little too different. Where I did think like this looks like it, but it's not.
yeah, that's what I thought. I like when I saw the eyes, I was like, okay, this looks a little Mario-ish. They went with a Donkey Kong game, 3D, so it's not. There's some side-scrolling elements. So it's kind of, I think maybe like the successor maybe to Donkey Kong 64. We haven't had a 3D Donkey Kong game in a while. All the other ones have been like the side-scrolling ones. Listen, I'm gonna get hate for this,
Oh, I feel like we're gonna be on the same.
and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Donkey Kong, but he is not a showstopper. He is not who I'm launching my new console with. I'm sorry.
I didn't get
I
it.
And
I
not with
literally
that
turned off.
face.
Like-
Yeah. At that point of the stream, I started like mousing over the preview to just see like, okay, is anything else? No. Why are we really doing that face?
Like
We're really doing it because he also looks like that in the Mario Kart.
I know.
He does.
Yeah.
That's his new look and feel.
This is what we're doing?
Because it's from the film, right? It's from the
It's from
Mario
the
it's
film.
from the film. That's fine.
Oh.
Listen, I think Donkey Kong should have his moment.
Not fine.
100%. I'm not anti Donkey Kong.
I am now.
Anti-Donkey
I am now. After
Well-
this.
Well-
I'm anti Donkey Kong's face. I'm anti her new face. I don't like the new face.
Honestly,
I
all
don't
of that.
understand the eyes. The lips are fine. It's the
Honestly,
eyes.
all of that don't care. Why are we launching this game? You realize, okay, Switch only had one 3D Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, it was not a Switch game. It was a Wii U game. So Switch did not get a 3D Mario game. It had the side scrollers. It had Wonder and whatever else.
Wait, when
But-
the fuck did Odyssey come out?
Odyssey
In
came out
October
at
of
launch.
2017.
Yeah, same year
came
when
out
it
just
launched.
after
And that was
launch.
the
And
only
nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's been
Oh.
like 8 years since a new 3D
So
Mario.
this was the moment to show another Mario game.
Okay. I have a thought. First, I think it's because in Universal Studios Japan and US, they're launching Donkey Kong Kingdom, so I think they've like found something they want to cross-pollinate. That's one. The second thing, I think Miyamoto's actually done making video games. This is
Probably.
my other problem. And so, but like, I think
But
the
that doesn't
2D
mean
ones,
Mario dies.
No, but the 2D ones are not made by him, but he has a lot of power over the 3D ones. And I feel like they're trying, and he'll show up every now and then like, I don't like it.
I don't like
I'm
it.
gonna go make a Zelda movie now.
No,
And then
no,
he'll
he's
come
Right.
like,
back
oh,
and they'll like, we did
Nintendo
this. And I'm like,
today. Nintendo
I don't
today.
like it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, let's make an app instead. Let's not make Mario.
You know
I
what?
have a thing. I think
I
they're
wouldn't
like
be
kind of
surprised.
stuck.
I would not be surprised if they obviously they have something cooking, right? It's not like there's nothing in the pipeline, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. Like Miyamoto probably comes, he's like, no, I don't like it, and then they have to go back to the drawing board because
Mm.
Mario's his baby, right? So
I'm
he's
gonna make
gonna.
an Alarmo now.
So he.
Exactly. That is the brainchild. Yes, yes.
So
James, that is
you know,
such a
he
good
definitely
point.
has a little bit more attachment to Mario, right? So anyway, Donkey Kong.
I'm looking forward to this game. Like, I think it's fun. It's going to fill
Yes.
the like sort of the 3D itch of me wanting that Mario game and everything. And hopefully, it's not like the full blown collectathon of 64, right? Like, hopefully, we've learned some lessons. But I'm excited. But like again, that fucking face, like, girl.
You're gonna get used to it, guys.
Yeah, the face
We're going to
decision
have
and
to.
choice is a thing.
But this
Listen,
isn't like
maybe they.
Renee Zellweger. Her face isn't going to settle after a couple months. Like, you know.
Oh,
We have to accept people as they come, guys. You can't judge.
now
I
No.
didn't change your face.
You changed your face.
now what I will say is maybe this really will like be a fantastic game. I don't doubt that it'll be a fantastic game, and that it will sell well over time. I just don't think it's the system grabber that people will levitate to like a Mario. So maybe they also want to give Mario Kart room to breathe, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe if it
Yeah.
was like Mario Kart and Mario, it's like too much
It is too
Mario,
much Mario.
right?
Yeah, this
So they
does
Yeah.
feel
probably
like
want to give
it's
Mario
yeah.
Kart room to breathe, which is like,
Mhm.
okay, fine. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to Nintendo consoles launching with a Mario game, but then also GameCube
Mm,
didn't launch with a Mario game.
true.
Yeah, Sunshine was like 2 years
It was
later.
Yeah, I
later.
think so.
You know, they
Yeah.
gave
It
Luigi a
was
moment.
Luigi. Yes.
Loja.
So
I know
Luigi.
they're also trying to develop younger talent. I know at Nintendo, like with Splatoon, so maybe they thought Donkey Kong was like something they could give some newer talent. Like it's not like doesn't
yeah,
have the preciousness of Mario. Like they can
correct.
experiment. So maybe
Yeah,
that's
Really
what it
good
is,
point.
right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And it
So
looks good. I mean, Donkey Kong aside, it looks like a fun
yes,
game,
Yeah.
right?
absolutely. Like I want to also make sure I say this. The game looks fantastic. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it. I was just surprised at the decision to be like, oh, Donkey Kong.
Yeah. But
Because
remember,
Yeah.
it comes out in July, so there's still a lot of year left after that, right?
true,
So
like what's gonna be the
I guess
November
it's probably
showstopper?
ZA. It's probably ZA.
Ugh, no, no.
Sorry.
That game needs to
Probably
go
is.
away.
I don't think that's gonna be. It could be Metroid.
Not even
It's
gonna put
Metroid.
like
It's Metroid.
It's Metroid.
It's Metroid and it's ZA. It's the two
It's
two
Metroid.
together equal. Yeah, yeah.
Because you have your younger audience appeal and your older audience appeal. That's
It's
that's
not.
your holiday.
wait, which is which there? Both of those are so steeped in nostalgia. I cannot tell
True.
which is gonna be for the
I
I
agree.
think the
I
Pokemon's
mean,
for the
kids.
chillins,
Let's be
yeah.
honest. Kids
No, it's true. That's
still
true.
like Pokemon,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and
yeah.
and
A lot of
Metroid
nieces
is really
and nephews are
for
so into it. Yeah.
the older generation. Like kids are not like, oh, Metroid Prime 4, especially number 4. They're not jumping in at 4, right? So
Mm.
now, before they closed it out, they they revisited the release date, talked about bundles, said, "Oh, look, we're gonna have the console. We're gonna have the console with the game. Okay, bye," and then closed the show. And everyone was like, "What about the price?"
call me
I wouldn't
over.
want to
Let
share
me
it
out.
either.
They ran out of that direct so fast and did not mention the price. Price was not mentioned anywhere in this direct. No price, no mention of Nintendo Switch Online price, upgrade pack prices. Price was nowhere to be found. And then right after the Switch thing was done, out comes the press releases. $450. We're going to use US dollars and Canadian dollars because we're Canadian. And this is what's got me in a tizzy. $450 US, and then $500 for with it comes with Mario Kart. And Mario Kart as a game on its own, digital, is $80 US. And in Canadian dollars, that would be almost $115.
It's gonna be $90,
I did the
right?
conversion.
Wait. Hold on. Did they actually confirm that Mario Kart, uh, uh, on its own, they actually confirmed the price of that game?
Yes, is $80 digital. Physical is 90.
What?
Yep.
USD? No. Oh,
Zero
bitch.
for Okay, when you look on the page,
No.
Gen Z, you have
it's
no chance.
MSRP
Sorry.
$79.99 with 3 asterisks after it.
3 asterisks.
So
One
hold
for
on.
each dollar.
Dagger, double dagger.
So there's another thing that was not talked about in the direct. There are 2 types of physical options when it comes to the games. There's a digital download cart, and then there's the actual physical cart. So you can buy the game digital for $80. You can buy the physical digital cart where you put the cart in the game, and you still have to download it. Okay.
I don't understand what that means.
Okay. And then if you want the physical actual game with the game on the cartridge, it's $90 US.
I see.
So I want to emphasize that in Canada, we are going to be paying probably about $115 for the digital, close to $115 for the digital, and $130 for
Girl,
the
no.
physical.
Well, with the conversion, yes, I think they're
With the
gonna do
conversion.
90. I think they're gonna do 90 and 110. I think that's gonna
Yeah.
be the
That's
difference.
probably what it
Which
will
is
be.
still
That's my
That's
opinion. That's what I
fucking
think.
nuts.
That's what
we
I
can
think.
hope, but when we do the conversion of the console, it does line up with the dollar conversion because it is $630 for the console by itself and $700 for with Mario Kart.
been fun.
Girl.
I don't play video games anymore. Bye, everybody.
How much is a PS5 game right now? I just think they'll have a
A
hard
PS5
time.
game is 90. That's the thing. I feel like they
Yeah,
would look
I
at
don't think
parity, right?
99.99 is.
So
That's yeah.
here's the
For
thing.
digital.
There is a lot of discourse about the price. A lot of people were like super on board for the Switch, and then the prices came out, and people were like, ugh. There's a couple things that I think that we have to point out. There's a lot being offered here, right? We have to remember that this is a portable console, right? And if you compare what you're getting in that portable console, 1080p, 60 FPS, 256 gigs of space, when you compare it to like the Steam Deck, which now has been out for a considerable amount of time, the price difference isn't that large, right? And then when you compare it to like the OLED versions and things like that, um, the Switch is like it's like right there in the price, right? So
Mm.
that's something that I think people need to consider, right? It's not just a home console; it's also something you can take on the. That's one thing. The game price situation.
That's the crazier thing to me.
If it wasn't Nintendo, it was going to be somebody else to pull the trigger because the prices and here's there's two caveats to the game price situation with Nintendo. One, other companies have hidden how they have raised prices in games. Yes, they've been charging $60 US, but you're not getting the whole game, right? They sell you DLC later. And then you buy it later. You buy $10 DLC here, $20 DLC here. Now you've spent 100 and some odd dollars. That's one thing to keep in mind, right? Nintendo generally doesn't do DLC, right? They've started to do it.
now, but
They
yeah.
started to do it now, but
Mhm.
generally speaking, when you get a Nintendo game, it's like a complete game, right? That's one thing. Second thing is like I think Nintendo got in a situation where like they're releasing the console at a time when no one else is releasing consoles, right? Sony and Microsoft and the third parties were going to probably pull the trigger. Everyone's been talking about GTA being $100. And unfortunately because Nintendo is coming out now with the price, they're kind of the first ones to pull the trigger, I feel.
Yeah.
And it looks bad on them, right? Because now they're going to be the one burned with the scarlet letter, and
Mm-hmm.
held as the one who raised the prices of games, right? And I hate that for them because
That's
like
not a good look.
it's not a good look, and it puts a stain on everything that was announced in the direct, because now it's like, oh, $500 for a console, right? And when you think about the general gamer that walks into EB Games and sees PlayStation for X amount of dollars and sees Switch for X amount of dollars, and they know that the Switch is not, it's better now, but it's
Mm.
still not at the same level as the PlayStation and Xbox, I think they have a hard sell.
Does it
I
have
think
Fortnite?
go ahead, Cameron.
It
Sorry.
does have Fortnite.
It does, yeah.
So Fortnite's on it. Okay,
Yeah.
that might
Yeah.
be their one saving grace. That's really all people want to play anymore. Like,
I,
I'm not even being facetious.
no, it's
Like,
I
true.
It-
Kids
you're
keep
yes.
playing Fortnite. That's all they play. You're right. They're always playing Fortnite.
yeah,
For me,
it's kids like anyone who came into video games later in life. It's Fortnite now.
And
That's it.
Roblox.
and Roblox and
So it's a
Roblox, yeah, they do that
$500
too. Yeah, yeah.
like for the
Fortnite,
average
Roblox.
person. Yeah, for the average person, this is a
Yeah,
$500
I agree.
like Fortnite
Yeah.
machine.
See, I can
Yeah.
deal with the console price. Like the console price, I don't know. That's the thing that's never bothered me too much about consoles too much is because you do it once, right? You do that once. It's like that idea of that, like of the game prices. Like I did not read that earlier, and like that to me, like that
And
is
you're a
such
physical
a
girly.
dissuading thing. What's right?
Yeah.
You like physical games. You're not a digital
Yeah.
person.
I do, yeah. I like a
She
mix.
dabbles.
Yeah.
I dabble.
She dabbles?
I do stuff, yeah,
So
I
like
dabble.
they've
Dabble in
made it
digital.
they've made it clear that like now another thing
Which
to note, it's not every game that's $80. Only Mario Kart is $80. Donkey Kong is 70,
then what the fuck?
right?
Are we sure that this isn't the Canadian price was
No,
80?
this is on the Nintendo of America website. I was looking at videos and everything. Donkey Kong is at $69.99 digital, and physical is $10 more.
Yep, you're right. I mean, we believed you, but yeah, yep.
Barf.
Yeah. So
That's the thing that bothers me.
Nintendo is
That's where
definitely
I have the difficulty.
Nintendo is definitely encouraging digital downloads because they take home more money when you buy digital, of course.
Mm.
Not leaning towards physical. Even like now, like you even mentioned earlier, Michael, they print a certain amount and that's it. They're done.
I
Like
I also think the cartridges, they're stuck with cartridges, so I think bigger cartridges are more expensive, which is why I think they have like the half digital one where like it's
Yeah.
like $80 for the cheaper cartridge and you have to download the second half of the game.
Right.
Whereas if you want like a 50 gigabyte
it's gonna cost you.
cartridge, it's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
they're charging you for it basically.
That's wild.
Is this
So
like Japan getting ahead of the tariffs? Is that what this is?
You know what?
Honestly, they're
We've
coming.
already priced it in. Congratulations.
Already ready.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
if-
know what?
ready. Yeah.
It's a good point, Cam. It's actually a really
if
good
that
point.
is the case, great. If it's not the case,
It's gonna get worse.
it's gonna get worse.
Wow.
That's why I was literally just having a conversation with my Chicago friends, and I said, the Switch was announced today, and it comes from Japan, and Japan now has 24% or some percentage of the Switch could end up costing you more.
Well, guys, remember when we used to just buy one game a year? I don't know about you, but like back when I was young and there was the
Yeah,
64 days, I played Mario Kart for 3 years. So, maybe we just
Maybe,
Maybe
it's
we're
time
going
go
back to that.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm with you, James.
100% completion rate on those
It's time to beat
games.
our games again.
Yeah, it's time
Hey.
to
That's what I've been living by.
one game.
I'm not doing great. No.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we might be going back to that era because who could afford multiple AAA games per year? Not me, honey.
Mm-mm.
Especially when
Can't
I'm not
afford
beating them.
eggs. Well, we can afford
We
eggs,
can
but
afford
some people
eggs.
cannot afford eggs.
They cannot
Can't
afford
afford
eggs, yeah.
games.
Yeah.
They can't afford eggs. We can't afford games.
Yeah. All of it.
So
Good
I mean,
God.
I don't like that the conversation now is just around the price of the game
Mm.
and the console. I think people are less upset about the console price as they are the game price because of the repercussions it's going to have with the other companies being like, oh, well, Nintendo's charging $80, so I'm going to charge $80. That's
with
what
you.
the conversation is kind of online right now. I know it's still fresh, literally, 12 hours. Um,
They're not far off anyway. Like a lot of the games that sell for like what, like 70 was the kind of going rate. Like they'll put out a deluxe version that's got an extra skin for $40. No, not 40, excuse me, for like an extra 10
Mm.
to $15.
You're not far off.
you're
Civ
not far
So
off.
7's
yeah,
editions were like
I
fucking
was
nuts. Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
Civ
yeah, they were
7s,
fucking nuts. Yeah.
but they're their own
That's
kind of
true.
fucking nonsense. I'm not going to use them
Yeah.
as an
Monster
example
Hunter
before.
Wilds that just came out was $90 in Canada. I don't know what that
Yes,
came out to in
It was expensive.
it was higher.
is 70 US I think it went for.
Yeah, so we are there in terms of like the prices going up for games, right? I just think that it's unfortunate timing and Nintendo was the one who had to pull the trigger in terms of it going up. There's been a lot of conversation about the price of games not keeping up with inflation. And they've kind of stayed at what was it, $70 in the US, 69.99
No,
for
no,
a
they were
long period.
59.99 until just this generation of like
Okay,
PS5 was when they first went up, right? They were
correct.
60
So
for a long
like
time.
it only went up $10,
Mm.
and we know that the cost of game development is not a fraction of what it was before, right? Like so when the Wii U games were like only $50, or sorry, the Wii games were $50 because they were for 480p. Yeah, Nintendo could do that back in the day. That was how they kind of, had that edge. The games were cheaper than like the other first party offerings, but we're just not in that time anymore, right? The time it takes to develop 4K 1080 60 frame per second games is it costs more. Plain and simple, right? Do I am I happy about it? No. Am I defending it? No, but I understand it,
Yeah. No,
right?
I mean the video game industry is fucking broken. Like when you've got a
Yeah.
workforce that gets laid off every time a game comes out because it's just too expensive to make these things, then yeah, the price was gonna go up. I think we need to like there needs to be a hard look at like is that type of game what should be
Hmm.
being made? If and I say that as somebody who loved a game that proceeded to fire
Mm.
its entire staff afterwards because it was too
Yeah.
expensive to make.
Right.
Like,
And I think that it's also I don't think every Nintendo game is going to be this. They've already shown that Donkey Kong is going to be $10 less.
Right.
Mario Kart is like a big flagship title. It is like it's just that big title for Nintendo. I think they're only going to keep the $80 price tag to Mario Kart, Zelda, Mario, maybe Metroid. Honestly, I don't even think Metroid is going to be $80.
No, you're right.
I don't think so because it's just not that
Not big
big
enough.
of a
Yeah.
game. I
Yeah.
really think they're only going to keep it like if I were to think of another like Pokemon won't be $80, right?
Pokemon should be $40.
Right?
At that quality? Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
I,
I'm
I
with you.
can't think
Yeah,
of any
yeah.
other Nintendo
Xenoblade.
games.
oh,
The next Xenoblade 4, they'll charge that.
They'll charge, yes, for that they probably will because it'll be graphically
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
you're getting your $80
And
worth,
big.
like,
Hmm.
right?
yeah. Um,
Um,
Welcome Tour will be the full price. Yep,
89.99.
yep, yep.
Welcome tour.
USD.
oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when
Lord
I think
have
about it, like
mercy.
I think that the rest of the Nintendo games will be 70.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm
We'll
take,
fucking
talking
see, dude.
I'm talking
I,
US
I'm
dollars,
not.
but
I'm not ready
It's
for
I
interesting
this.
because it's interesting because like I feel like Nintendo used to like never discount their games. It would be like this is how much a
they
Nintendo game
still
is,
don't.
and it never
I
goes
still
on
don't.
sale. But yeah, but I feel like with Metroid Prime Remake and stuff, they started to give themselves a bit of spread because I think that was like 49.99 or something. So
Mm-hmm,
this is
mm-hmm.
it's interesting.
There is a
They're
Mm,
bit
like
of a
making their
sliding
own. It's very
scale
Nintendo
now.
making their own little market. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is our version of an indie game. It's called Metroid Prime Remake, and it's $50.
Yeah, so I think there
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
I
right,
do
Jace. You're
think
right.
there is going to be a bit of a sliding scale with these games. And one of the things they did with the Switch, if you recall, they had those vouchers toward
Yeah, the
like the
game vouchers. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
girl, yeah, two for
and the
one.
game vouchers basically let you get the game for like 5 to eight
Mm,
dollars less than what it is if
A
you had
little
Nintendo
more
Switch Online.
depending, because you could use it towards Tears of the Kingdom, which costs
Right.
more, right?
Cool.
So yeah.
Let's do
So
that.
I think that they're also going to do that again. Because I think it was successful. I think they probably will do that again. It encourages people to, you know, pre-buy two vouchers, get two games kind of thing. And plus they also buy Nintendo Switch Online. I think we're going to do that again. Especially with how much discourse there is around pricing of the
That's
games.
nuts.
So I could see them doing that.
Was this successful? I've never heard of this.
Which, the vouchers? The
Yeah, I've
vouchers
never
were
heard of this
successful.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, they were. They were.
They were,
And
yeah.
with the Tears of the Kingdom in particular. Delvin, I think you said it best. We had like it was a good direct. I feel like they really did deliver on a lot. Like, they announced this with 2 months of hype to slowly build up to this date, right? And I really felt like they actually did deliver in terms of, like, it looks great, it is great, it's a good offering, there's lots of stuff. I'm excited about the thing, and I can deal with the console price, but honestly, like, this
The
fucking
games.
price of the games, like, yeah, I am
Wow.
far less enthused now that I know that. I will still
Unfortunate.
probably get it, but I'm less enthused.
Wow.
So who else is getting a Switch to?
I am.
Yeah, same. Next Wednesday,
No.
pre-orders, but still,
Do you
like,
think, Karen, do you think
meh.
you'll get one later, like if something catches your eye, or are you just
Probably not. I'm kind of on and off
Yeah.
with Nintendo systems. Just like I got a Wii, didn't get the Wii U, got a Switch. Probably
nobody
not gonna
got
get
the
Yeah,
Wii
the.
nobody
U?
got the Wii U. That's
Yeah,
not,
but
you
I'm
were
just
not
saying, like,
original there,
but
Cameron.
no, but also like my intake of Nintendo is I'll play Pokemon and I'll play Smash Brothers. The only other
Mm.
game out of all of that, like I'm excited, girl, I'm happy for you, but the only other like Nintendo game that was there that I was like, I might play that is Metroid Prime 4, which
You can play on your current one anyway. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be terrible because I won't be able to use the mouse. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was a good direct. It's not for me. That's okay. I don't need to shell out nearly $1,000 for everything,
I
so
know.
Oh
I'm
my
good.
god, when you frame it like that, and the Joy-Cons that are probably gonna cost like $300. Yeah,
They're
that's rough.
$90 US, so it'll probably be like $130
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Canadian.
Girl, I
I
can't.
know.
This is too much.
I think that's why
Yeah.
we have Klarna or whatever.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know
You know
you
what?
can
Let's use our.
Klarna your DoorDash now?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, Delvin.
That's the end of the world.
Yeah,
That's
I
the end
have
of
to
the
pay.
world.
I
Like,
have
I'm
to pay
sorry,
for
if you
my
can't
Kids,
afford the
don't
Popeyes
lease your
Popeyes,
dinners.
like,
It's just leasing. Guys, Klarna, all these pay after, it's just leasing. It's a modern leasing scheme. Do not lease your food. That is ridiculous.
Yes,
I know.
Okay.
exactly. That's
well,
your VG Realness tidbit of real life info right there. So
By the way, our tagline used to be, I think, "Welcome to VGRealness, your weekly dose of video gaming amongst friends."
oh, and then it was your occasional dose or your whatever
or
dose
something
of
that.
gaming
Yeah.
you chat
That
amongst
was our.
friends.
That
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
It
that's
just.
what
It
it
came
was.
back.
yeah.
It came back. Like
And
that
now the
Celine Dion
tagline
song.
is,
Sup?
we're
I was like,
here.
we're old. Everything's too
Whatever.
expensive.
Yeah, I
Stop
know.
playing. Stop playing Fortnite and Klarnaing your food.
I know, right? But this was very
Go
good to
outside more.
do. I'm really
Yes.
happy that we got to do this again. Um,
Yay.
we're not going to make any promises in terms of like a return. Um, we're going to see how this goes, and we'll go from there. And that's all we're going to say.
And if you like it, tell us you like it. Tell
Like,
people you like that you
comment,
like
and
it.
subscribe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not doing that.
Ah,
Smash that bell for alerts.
I know,
Sorry.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks for coming for those who still listen to us, and we'll chat again soon, or maybe not.
Bye.
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 Bye.